Welcome back to Contracted and Committed. I'm Kelsey, your host. We're so glad you're joining us from another episode. Today, we're diving into the side of travel healthcare that no one really warns you about. We thought travel healthcare meant freedom and adventure, but instead, it's often more like drowning in tax forms, scrambling to find housing, and dealing with a whole lot of unexpected drama.
Yep, all exciting perks we imagined, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's just say we've learned there's a lot more logistics to juggle than we originally thought. So in today's episode, we're pulling back the curtain on the behind-the-scenes challenges of travel healthcare. Everything they don't tell you about when you sign up for the gig.
From navigating paperwork to dealing with housing nightmares, we're giving you a peek at what it's really like on the other side. Stick around for some quick tips, laughs, and hopefully a little less stress about the travel healthcare life.
Yeah, diving right in. You're starting a new contract very soon, so this is very fresh on our mind of paperwork and all that is required every time you accept a new contract, right?
Yeah, I was a little, I don't know, kind of like shocked me at first, right when we started the travel job. How many emails I got from many different people in the company of like, okay, we need you to do this, and we need you to do this, and this, and there was just a lot of stuff, and I was like, whoa.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt, because I am Kelsey, like, oh, I have to get all these done,
Mm-hmm.
but they did give you like a great timeline.
Some of them. Sometimes I feel like they're like, yeah, we need this done next week, and you have no place to go to for it within 100 miles.
Yeah,
good luck.
but I'm talking about like signing up for it the first time.
Mm-hmm.
There was like a lot that you had to do. Of course, like it's the normal employment application that you normally do for any job, that you're like your education, your work history, the normal stuff that's like on your resume.
And when we were starting contracting, I thought that's just what it would be. It would just be that normal stuff, and that was it, and life goes on, right?
There's way more to it. And then like obviously references, and that was a little hard because it's like some people didn't know I was gonna quit my job, and so I was like, okay, who do I ask?
It's like, do I want my current clinical director to be my reference, even though I haven't told her yet? That's kind of like a weird conversation to have. So it's like, well, now I gotta tell him, but it's like I don't want to, because we don't have anything set in stone yet.
Yeah, I think I did have one of my clinical directors be one of my references. Because I did give them a 3-month in advance thing, but I was like, this is kind of weird. I'm leaving, but you're going to be a reference.
Yeah, at least she's pretty chill. So
yeah, that was really nice. Yeah. And then drug screening, which was kind of obnoxious because you have to go to specific locations, and they're not super close by locations. The first one, I had to drive like 45 to 50 minutes away to get it done, and it was my first time doing it. So I was
like, these places are only open during weekday hours. Yeah. It's not like they have weekend hours, and you still had a job at this point. Yeah. So it's like, when do you find the time to go off and do these things?
And I remember being there, and I was like, hopefully I got all this right. Like,
it's like no one's there to hold your hand through it and tell you, oh, yeah, you need exactly this, this, and this. It's like, I kind of have an email that kind of tells me what to do.
Just print everything out, bring it all. And at that appointment, I had to do the drug test, like the pee urine sample. I had to do TB, but because it was so far away, I think I just did the blood sample test for that. I think there might have been something else I had to do. I don't remember, but there was like a couple things that was more than just the drug screening. I also had to obviously give them my medical records for the immunization, so the Michigan immunization record or something like that. So that had everything on there to make sure that I was up to date. I don't remember if I had to do a physical. I don't think so, but that could have been a part of it. It just felt like a blur because there was so much, and I was just like trying to keep up with it. What else do I have to do? I know I had to take like 2 mini exams, which was
like
kind of
to test
weird.
your knowledge.
It was kind of like a
like,
skills.
Are you a good PT?
Yeah, but it was for the company, and I don't remember if I had to do it since.
I don't know.
It
might just be like entry exam to make sure that you have the minimum requirements to be able to do the jobs.
And I was like, okay, this will be easy. I got into it. I was like, okay, I actually need to like focus and dedicate more time than I thought.
You thought you were done with exams. You
I know.
graduate, you have your doctorate, and you're like, oh, no more schooling, no more exams, no more studying, and boom, hit you with another one.
Yeah, I kind of wish there was more exams and studying. I felt like I got so good at that.
Yeah, you're kind of weird with that. So I'm very happy I have no more exams or studying.
I mean, I don't like exams, but I just feel like we got so conditioned into like doing them, and I was like, oh, I'm so good at this. And then once I got out of school, I'm like, how do I do this like real world thing? Because I haven't done it. Like you go from elementary, middle, high school, right into undergrad, then into grad school. Like that's a long part of my life. That's still like a good percentage of my life that I've been in school.
You're so busy with school stuff. So it's not like you can hold a part-time job at the local restaurant or something like that. It's like, well, I have like 2 majors and practically a third with your
undergrad. I did
with the undergrad stuff, and you just didn't have time to do those kind of things, or it's just too busy.
In the summer, I was like taking more classes just to get to my.
So it was all school all the time.
Yeah, it was so
and
fun.
And then boom, you're in the real world now. Good luck.
Exactly. I think other things, obviously, they need to verify your license that you did. Get your license, verify your CPR, your BLS. Obviously, you have all the tax forms, employment forms, I-9, W-4 you had to do.
Oh boy, tax forms.
I know.
Gets a little confusing, especially once you start working in multiple states there.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a huge thing that I think we were a little nervous with going into doing this too. Like, how are we going to, what does taxes look like?
What does filing taxes after a year of traveling to 3 different states looks like?
Yeah,
Yeah, it got a little confusing in there, but I think I figured it out, and nobody came knocking on our door to arrest us that we did it wrong, so it must have been approved.
You did it through
H&R Block.
Yeah, just online.
Yeah, because we had to file in multiple states, I did get like the upgraded package where I could talk to a person.
That's nice,
and be like, hey, am I doing this right at all?
Please help.
Not all states have equal tax forms. So some states may require like different things for different dates. And it's like, hey, that's one big thing. Always keep track of the dates that you're in a place and you're working in a place.
Good thing they're in the contracts.
Because they will ask you. Because they will ask you when you're doing your taxes, like, okay, well, what dates were you working in this state for? And it's like, okay, well, when was the start of the contract? And you got to make sure, especially in my case, because I work from home, I had to update my employer every single time I moved to a different state.
Because of the taxes.
Because they had to take out differently for each state I'm in.
Yeah.
So it did get a little convoluted, but it just it probably took me another like hour and a half, 2 hours in the end to do it, just because you have to file with the 3 different states, and then they get approved at different rates. But it does cost a little more money, just because you are filing with 3 different states. So.
Because I think we were pretty close to, like... Breaking even, yeah.
Yeah.
It was
we got a little bit back, but not like a ton.
Because they took... Because of the different taxes in different states.
Some states we got taxes back, some states we didn't. I think it was like North Carolina, we got some back. Indiana we didn't, and Michigan we got some back.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
So we can hate Indiana. Be like, you didn't give us any money. I'm just kidding. We hate Ohio, right?
Yeah.
No, just kidding. Ohio. We've never lived there, but it's just a Michigan thing to hate Ohio, and Ohio hates Michigan.
There. We don't like them.
We have driven through there a lot.
Yeah.
And it's very boring to drive through there. But any other suggestions with taxes or what you've learned?
The main thing was truly just keeping track of all the dates. Make sure you have those contracts. Make sure if you're like Tristan, you work from home and your husband's following you along, for all the people with that applies to. Make sure you're updating your employer on where you're at constantly.
Communication.
Communication, who would have thought? And then a lot of times the companies do a pretty good job of taking out the right amount of taxes.
Yeah, they're pretty on top of it with their job.
At least your company has been. So they've been, every time you've updated to a new state, they take out the appropriate taxes for each one.
Yeah. And Tristan does our taxes. I'm just like, that's too much. I can't. He's a tax man. He does it. So.
Also, what was confusing about taxes is the housing stipend versus like a housing allowance. A housing allowance slash stipend and a food allowance slash stipend isn't always taxed. Like in some cases, like the contracts we have, those aren't taxed. So that's not taxable income. So when eventually you go to file, you're like, wait, my taxable income is like 3/4 or about a half of what I actually made last year. Why is that? It's probably because of those stipends.
Yeah.
Which confused me at first when I saw like the incomes. I was like,
that's not right.
This ain't right. This isn't even close.
You're like, no way.
And I was like, oh, okay, now it makes sense. And so it worked out in the end. But just kind of understand that if it seems like you made less on your taxes than what you did, it's probably because the stipends may be untaxable income.
Right. But that's about it.
Yeah. Which is very nice. That's
yes.
Having untaxable income, you're saving money on that income. Let me tell you.
I think it was nice to know that we didn't have to go in and be like, okay, like what's going on. So thanks for having patience and doing the taxes this year.
Yeah. I only had to call them one time to actually help. And message them twice.
What was the question? Was it because of the different states?
Well, I couldn't. A bubble just wouldn't let me click it. I couldn't figure out why, so I just called this guy and said, "Hey, what's going on here?" And he clicked it for me. I was like, "Okay, life goes on."
You're like,
whatever you did, thank you. I'm so tired. It was like 2 hours into this thing. It was the last.
You're so close.
It was the North Carolina form, state form, and I was like, "Why can I not click this bubble for the life of me?" It was just grayed out, and it's something I needed to click, because every time I went to finish, it's like, hey, you forgot this field, and it's like, hey, I can't even click the field, so I don't know what you want from me.
Oh, okay. And then the other ones probably were, like, the dates or something.
Yeah, just to make sure, like, hey, can you see what I have listed? Is this correct based on the forms that we have? Because you will get, that's another thing, you'll get tax forms for each state that you have to file, so you got to make sure that you're, like, matching the right state up for the ones that you're filing when you're looking through all the W-2s and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that's another big thing too.
That's hard. I don't have patience for that.
It's a little confusing, but once you like lay out everything and then you're like, okay, this is my Indiana file, this is my Michigan file, this is my North Carolina pile. It's like, okay, here we go.
Yeah.
And you just fly through it from there.
Are you
Federal's easy.
Yeah. Or do you feel good now that you have one under your belt that like next year will be better?
Truly, I think I spent 30 minutes on that one bubble, so.
Oh, okay. So
if that bubble isn't there, isn't bugging me, then, I'm flying through that next time.
Okay, that's good. And then I guess I also wanted to say, in addition to like all the stuff you have to do at the beginning, every new contract, they like send out after you're like, yep, I want it, cool, sign the contract, you signed all your documents they send you. They're like, okay, great, now I need all this stuff, and I need it due in, like, a couple weeks. And you're like, great, let me try to figure that out. It's not really a couple weeks. It kind of depends, I guess, how early.
On the paperwork it is, too.
Yeah, they just need it in at a certain time before you start your contract, obviously.
Yeah.
This one right now, we have like 2 contracts back to back really close. So there's not a lot for each contract, but because there's 2, it feels
like a lot.
Yeah. Because we're doing like a 1.5-month contract into another 10-month contract is what we have solidified. Thank goodness, finally now. So for both of them, I've had to do like just the fingerprinting is all right now that I've had to do. Unless
do you have to do fingerprinting for each one, or can you just do one fingerprinting and call it a day?
I think they're just going to fingerprint me and then send the fingerprints to the 2 schools.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, but when I'm there, they'll probably do it both times. But it's the live scan, so it's just the computer. It's not like actual ink.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and it should be instant and everything. But for fingerprinting, they use like a specific company that you have to go to. And sometimes there's not a close by company, like when we first started. And so.
Like right now, right? Didn't we check? And it's like, hey, is there anything within 100 miles?
And there wasn't. Nope. But that was for the live scan one. I think if I did I could go to like a police station and get like the real ink ones, but then you have to mail it in.
Yeah.
But I've had trouble in the past with that one. I don't know if you remember, but I was like, oh, they denied it. And I'm like, I'm just going to give them like 2 or 3 forms of this because
It's like, what are they denying it for? Like, what went wrong? They don't even tell you, do they?
The prints weren't legible. They couldn't figure it. You know what I mean?
That's weird, yeah.
Yeah.
You trying to wipe off your fingerprints? Trying to hide from the government?
I don't think... No, I'm not trying to hide from the government. I have
That's
nothing to hide.
That's why they keep moving from state to state, yeah. You're trying to make a run for it.
No, I just think my fingerprints just don't... Even on the live scan, I had to do the live scan here for the pre-K background check, because I had to do that in addition for the school. And that was a live scan, and she couldn't get it. Like, I had to do my finger multiple times.
You got bad fingerprints.
I do. They just don't...
burned them off or something.
I'm probably working on the farm as a kid.
You ever in prison?
Hot water. No, I've never been in prison.
Uh-huh. You on the run?
Yeah, I'm on the run. You
just didn't tell me? That's what... I've only known you 9 years.
Yeah, almost 10, yeah. Yeah, right. Anyways, all that to say, you have to, like, do a lot of stuff. Resume, always updated. References, new references all the time.
It's good to update that resume as you go,
Oh, yeah,
too.
I do.
So that's good.
I kind of have on my resume, like, my company, and then under that, kind of, like, this company I worked, and this is what I did, instead of, like, 100 different... Does that make sense, what I'm saying? 100 different places. I just have, like, my travel company, and then all my places underneath that, and kind of, like, a blurb of, like, what I did there, or whatever.
That makes sense.
Yeah, just so it's easier.
Yeah, you're going to have multiple pages on your resume here, just because of all the places you've worked for here.
I gotta start deleting my very old ones, like, okay, delete that one, it's not relevant anymore. It is, but it isn't. Yeah.
You know what time it is? It's time for Kelsey's check-in segment.
So the question today is, if our relationship had a productivity report this week, what would be your top billable moment be?
My top billable moment? Probably when you got angry at the gym, because that's so frustrating. It's like, first,
billable moment.
That's a billable moment.
You know what a billable moment is?
That's a billable moment.
Explain to me what billable moment.
For me, a billable moment is time that we spend together.
For me.
That, I don't know, that work has to be put in, and it's frustrating. That's my top billable moment.
Like you're actually working.
Yeah, that's working on a relationship.
Okay, that's not how... Okay, go ahead.
And I'm working on my body. I'm in the Iron Forge, the gym.
Okay, so your billable moment is when I got mad at you at the gym. Okay.
Because, dang, I had to really lock in there. Because the gym's not my favorite place in the first place.
Yeah.
So, when she's frustrated at me at the gym for literally nothing.
I wasn't even frustrated that long, though. It was like 2 minutes.
Yeah. It just made the whole experience even worse. So,
but then I was happy afterwards.
You did not seem happy afterwards. Because you had to sit there and think about how you had to do lateral raises next. So you were not happy.
No, I hate lateral raises. No, my least favorite is preacher curls. Mm-hmm. Can't do those. They're so hard and they hurt. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's your billable moment. Yeah. Okay, what's mine? Shoot.
That's the one that would cost you the most.
Cost you the most. Mine would be... I'm thinking. He's laughing at me.
We went over the question before he sat down here, you know.
I know, but I don't really have like a huge billable. It's not like a big billable moment, but I feel like doing all the housing stuff and like going through and like paying for all that stuff is kind of a billable moment. Mm-hmm. Making sure it all looks good, because that kind of was solidified today. So that's my big billable moment. My big billable moment.
You got that.
Tongue twister.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a pretty good one. It's a lot of work and a lot of stress.
It's just like, oh shoot, is it right? Okay, yep,
Yeah.
Double checking it and everything.
And even after we've done it so many times, it's always like, is it right? I don't know.
Well, especially because this last one we've been here for so long. I'm like,
It's been a while since we've done it.
Yeah, I was talking to Mom on the phone during our walk today, and I was just like, yeah, I kind of forgot how, like, doing a new contract works. I was like, I kind of forgot. But...
Yeah, it's struggles with the long contracts.
That's my big billable moment. Okay, for today's PT tip is pack light, but smart. Okay? So packing for travel healthcare doesn't mean bringing your whole life. Okay, folks? Focus on the essentials to get through your contract. For us, we kind of have a simple, maybe unspoken rule. Is if it doesn't fit in the van, plus the 3 of us, it's out.
Yep. Very true.
To the curb.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
You can pack our whole life in one Pacifica.
So here's kind of some tips on how to do that. First off, think of essentials only. Pack what you actually use on a day-to-day basis. Okay? Not the just-in-case items. And that's kind of hard for me because I'm always like, well, what if?
And really maximize space. You ever seen those rushing nesting dolls? Like, really make sure you're putting stuff in stuff. Like our bag of bags of bags of bags.
Yeah, we have a bag of bags of bags.
In bags and bags and bags and bags.
That is true. And also we use the big gallon.
The vacuum bag.
They're not gallon, they're bigger than gallon. Yeah. The vacuum bag for our clothes.
Yeah.
So that really helps save space. And we just vacuum it up.
Truly. The clothes take a lot of space.
Yeah, if they're not vacuumed.
And you can really save on that for sure. Though they get really heavy, especially when I have to carry them up.
3 flights of stairs while you're throwing up.
Poisoning. And it half rips on you. Don't forget about that part.
Yeah, I did half rip on Tristan on a spiral staircase.
Oh,
Anyways, save that for the housing nightmare episode. Second one is space saving. If it can't fit, it's out. Maximize limited space, which is kind of what Tristan talked about. And then multi-purpose. So choose items that serve more than one purpose. For us, it's for me, it's like workout clothes are kind of similar to work clothes, etc.
Multi-purpose clothing there.
And then for comfort items, you can bring a few things to make it homey, but keep it minimal. I feel like for us, it's kind of like our vacuum.
My chair.
The chair, the rice, the coffee. Oh, we also have like a magnet calendar that kind of makes it homey for us because that's just something we've always had in the past.
Yeah.
So basically, packing light means you can focus on what matters, which is your work and the adventure. So pack light, but smart. The next little segment we want to talk about is kind of the housing struggles and the paperwork for housing, too.
And how to find housing.
How
we find housing.
Yeah, I guess there's probably multiple ways. And kind of like that process before getting to a house.
Because before accepting a contract, you got to make sure, can you even live in the city? Right. Is there a place for you to stay? Especially in our case, because we travel with a dog, it's like, we got to make sure there's housing available that's affordable and allows pets.
Yeah.
And is in a safe area.
Yeah. Safe area.
Yeah.
That's definitely something.
We learned that after our first contract. Really make sure it's safe, you know?
Yeah. Well, we kind of got screwed over. Live in Noah.
Nah.
Yeah. They were like,
the place is nice.
We actually lived in the same place that our friends live in Noah who do traveling. I kind of just like snuck in and
took their place.
Took Liv's place at that place right after they left. And they're like, oh my gosh, that's the same apartment we were at. And we had such big issues with that place. And
it's a funny place.
Yeah.
It's a funny place. Across the street. Yeah, we'll get into it.
We'll get into it different because I just want to
tune in next time for.
There'll eventually be like a housing nightmare.
Yeah, the
whole
housing
thing,
nightmares.
like what we've had to deal with so far and what we will probably some more. Anyways, going back, it's hard to find short-term leasing. But the best website we found is Furnish Finders. It's specific for travel healthcare. It's cheaper than Airbnb and Vrbo or anything like that. And usually they're actual houses.
Yeah, like fully stocked
furnished
houses. So
houses.
They got all your beds, all your utensils in the kitchens you may need, pots and pans.
The necessities.
Yeah. The necessities to live. And sometimes the houses are places like, these people actually do live here. They're just gone they're like snowbirds or something. And they're gone for 6 months. And you're just truly walking into their home, and you're going to be in their home for
Yeah.
the amount of months your contract is.
But I will say that sometimes this furnished housing isn't always fully furnished.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you just gotta make sure, like, okay, do they actually have a couch?
Mm-hmm.
Because there's been places that were like, wow, there's not really a lot of seating opportunities.
Yeah. It's like we can just pull out the chairs from the kitchen dining
Right.
table. Is that the idea for these ones?
Which is fine. I personally like when a furnished finder house is more bare minimal because it's easier to clean. I hate when there's so many knickknacks.
When it's cluttery and it's like, okay, now everything's going to be dusty because you have to move every knickknack if you want to actually clean the house well.
And there's been times that we walk into a house and supposedly they're cleaned. They're cleaned.
We got to clean 2 days before you got there. It's like, are you sure? There's cobwebs in the corners. There's bugs in the house.
Yeah. And it's like, well, this isn't clean to us. Maybe it's clean to other people. Sometimes they don't have washer and dryer. Sometimes they don't have a dishwasher.
That's a big one to look for, the in-unit washer and dryer. Because going out and having to do it at a laundromat, it takes time.
And money.
Mm-hmm.
What's some other things? Sometimes they don't have
parking spaces,
knives, pans. We've also learned that. Sometimes bedding's really crappy, and that kind of sucks.
What size bed do they have?
Right.
Is it just like a full, or do you have a queen,
or a king?
In some cases, a king. Kings are nice, let me tell you.
Because right now this is a queen. And with both of us, it's fine. But it's the point that we have a dog. And it's like she gets up there sometimes. And
three's a little bit of a crowd in that case.
And she likes to... she's a princess. She, like, pushes us away or gets really close to you. So always look for, the things that you want. Like, do you care about this or not?
Yeah. And scout it out on Google Maps.
Yes.
So, like, try to find approximately where it's at or the neighborhood it is and kind of walk around on Google Maps. That way you can really see is, like, are the neighbors keeping up their lawns? Like, what kind of neighborhood is it? Is there trash in people's yards? Google Maps will tell you a lot.
Yeah. And then, like, what's around it? Is there dollar stores around it? Or is there nicer places around it?
Does the city have a Planet Fitness? Does the city have a Sam's Club nearby? These are all things we got to think about when we're moving to a new place.
Yeah, those are kind of a couple things that we look into specifically. First, we look, like, how close is it to the city or clinic that we're going to be at, because I don't want to drive 30-40 minutes to my clinic every day. Another thing we look at is there a Planet Fitness, because we have a Planet Fitness membership, and it's nice to be close to one within like 15-20 minutes is fine. And then how about Sam's Club? Is there a Sam's Club? If not, then that membership kind of goes to waste for us. Because we have a Sam's Club membership, saves us a lot of money. Easy for...
especially on gas.
Yeah, gas for sure. And then Tristan likes to look to see if there's golf courses around.
Of course. Especially when we're in the South. I'm golfing year-round.
Yeah. I try to look at, like, aerial yoga or aerial places. Like the silks that hang from the ceiling, because I got really big into that when we lived in Fort Wayne, Indiana, for one of my clinicals in grad school. Usually there's not one. I just look to be like, maybe...
to try to find out. It's like, is there something at least close-ish? Like 30 minutes you can go to one every once in a while type thing?
Right. Because I really like that, but
you want to get back into it eventually?
It's fun. I wouldn't do it for, like, an everyday workout. I'd still go to the gym, but, like, an additional, it would be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, also there's something else to look at, to think of, is like hidden costs. For us, it's like, obviously you have the cleaning fee, and then there's a dog pet fee. And then for furnish finders, they use a secondary company.
System to make payments and stuff. It's called
KeyCheck. Yeah. And if your renter or landlord wants to use that also has additional fees too. It's like $20-some every time to process.
At least,
yeah. And then I feel like there's something else that they have a fee on too. Or am I crazy? Oh, insurance.
Oh,
they have insurance on KeyCheck. You can get insurance
through them, housing insurance, because some of them...
I think that's
some of the furnished finders place requires you to have insurance through KeyCheck. So then you can verify that you have, like, the appropriate coverage that whatever the house requires you to have. Some people are like, you have to have $300,000 for personal protection of your house insurance, and it's like, your house ain't even worth $300,000. You think we need $300,000 of protection?
Yeah, and I think that's the $20-some each month that I'm thinking of. That's extra fee.
Yeah, it's like $25 an extra month.
Yeah, which isn't terrible, but
they add up.
It adds up if you're there for 10 months. Like, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
You also, on there, they usually like you to do a soft pull of your credit score. So you have to pay for that. So right now, today, I just paid for 2 of those. And they're both $45 because we're going to 2 contracts. And both of these contract housing people, we kind of have them lined up, getting set up basically at the same time. So then we don't have to worry about it. So that's fun. I feel like that's just $45 for a soft pull that takes like 10 minutes is kind of obnoxious. But whatever. We have a good credit score. I wish I could just say we have high 700s to 800 to them and then believe us. But no. We have to pay $45 for them to know that. Also, just start your search early because sometimes we're trying to find a place. Well, recently we've tried to find a place and we've been waiting for a week for them to contact us back. So we just moved on to a different place.
Us back. And it's like, well, why do you have your listing out there if you're not going to talk to people?
To respond, Some other people respond within the first, 10 minutes of you doing it.
Some people are very communicative. Some people are a little over-communicative.
Which I'd rather have people over-communicative, but not, investing into, us while we're staying there, you know what I mean? Our tenant right now, or are we
landlord?
Our landlord, we're the tenants. Our landlord right now is very talkative. The first time he wanted to call us and be like, I need to talk to you. I can call you and talk through everything. Mind you, this was the day that we flew back from our honeymoon. And we drove home, and then he called us. It was 8 p.m. And that next morning, we were going to start...
Talk to us for an hour.
We were going to start driving.
I learned his whole life story.
We were going to start driving down to North Carolina next day, so I was like, And he was telling us, he remodeled the place, and how to start the laundry, the washing machine, and...
It's we know how to do laundry, it's all right.
I'm like, oh, we're not 15.
Yeah.
Even when I was 15, I knew how to do the laundry. But he told us his whole life story. So I'm not okay with it is what it is. But I was like, okay. I was like, oh great, this is gonna be a lot. But he hasn't contacted us like that since.
And if we need him, he's always very responsive. Yeah. So that's been nice.
Yeah, which is nice. Yeah, I'd rather have them responsive than not. But we have missed out.
Some landlords haven't been responsive because. The one in Richmond.
Oh my gosh.
Those people, to get into our apartment, there's this keypad. It was a digital keypad. And sometimes it just wouldn't work.
It would freeze, I think.
So, especially when it was in cold weather. So you just have to stand there and hope that someone comes out sometime soon. Yeah. There was one time I was standing there with Izzy because I had just taken her out for 25 minutes. And it's well, this is freaking obnoxious.
Yeah.
Well, I'm trying to get this keypad to work it. Yeah, and I just forgot the key that time. But
then after that,
you'd assume the keypad would work because it's on. It just, when it's too cold, it can't feel your touch. Yeah. I'm sitting there, I'm breathing on it, trying to warm it up.
And you're trying to contact them, showing them that it wasn't working and they weren't doing
and they're
anything.
I don't know what you want from us. And we'll have someone come by and reset it the next day. And it's well, I need to get inside now.
You're I'm working. I'm on the clock. What else? I think
that's mainly all stuff I can think of for the housing
It seems like
needs.
A lot, but once you get
a process kind of down.
Yeah, we have a process for sure. Oh, okay, this might be a contract we have, and then we're both okay, furniture finders in blah 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 city, and looking at
what's around the city, what's nearby, and we both do kind of independent research before coming together, and then discussing what we found, and then we can kind of sit on my computer as we go through different tabs.
Which ones, and see what we like.
See all the pictures.
What questions
try to find
we
it
have.
on Google Maps. Yeah.
And I think what we do all that kind of a little surface level dig before fully committing to a contract.
Yeah. You don't want to commit before you know you can live somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. And I do think communication with your landlord before, ask the questions. Don't sign their contract before you ask the questions.
Yeah.
Like, for us, it's really necessary for Tristan to have high-speed internet.
Mm-hmm.
And...
because I have to be on Teams calls and stuff. And if I'm sitting there cutting in and out while I'm talking to an account that won't be very happy if I just sit there and cut in and out, that's not a good look for our company, and I don't want to lose an account for that. So.
Right, yeah. And a lot of our landlords have been really good. Like, hey, we do have it, but if you guys need more, we can upgrade it without, like, us paying for it, which is nice. Another one that's big is lawn care. Make sure you know, like, do I need to do the lawn? Do they do the lawn? Usually they'll take care of the lawn care. Right now, to the place we're at, the lawn care is not being kept up, and we're getting so frustrated about it a little bit because I
looks poorly on us for our neighbors, and it's like we go outside and we're embarrassed because like we don't even have a way to take care of it. Like, what do you want me to go get the scissors? Like,
I'm like, I know it looks bad, and like we're a young couple, quote unquote, compared to like people around us. I'm like, we're not bad people. We're not
lazy. I promise.
Yeah. If this was actually our house, we would take care of it. Like, it's overgrown, and we've contacted our landlord about it, and he's like, oh yep, he'll be here Monday. He did not show up Monday
or Tuesday.
Yeah, so
maybe tomorrow we'll find out.
Yeah, it's Tuesday now, so like our landlord is like on it, and he goes, oh yeah, he like does other neighbors, and I think I saw him do our neighbor, and he didn't come do ours that day, and I was just like, ours is worse than the neighbors. Yeah. And her landlord's like, yeah, it's like,
did they get the wrong address?
No, the landlord said that it's their discretion if it needs it. And I'm like, oh, honey, it needs it. Yeah. Like, it's like going through a jungle out there. Feel bad for Izzy. And so communicate expectations of what you're handling or what they're handling. You know, if it has a washer, a dryer, internet. We always look at least 2-bedroom places because it's nice for Tristan to have his dedicated space, because we would go insane if he was doing out in the living room, the kitchen.
You were also hanging out in the living room, and you have to hear me be loud. You already have to hear me be loud, but it's just another thing that adds on to it. And it's not
his work. Well, it's nice for him working if he's going to be on video to be in a separate room, to be able to close the door for myself or Izzy if I'm home during that time. But also, like, when he wants to play games with his friends online, like, and I want to do something else, or I want to sit in the kitchen and do something, like, so that's what we look for. But basically, if you're doing healthcare, travel of any kind, and using furnished finders, know what you want, and then, like, what are your things that you would be okay flexible on. Like, I'd be fine flexible on not having a dishwasher, for instance, but not flexible of not having washer dryer. 100%. So, things like that.
Yep. Just find your needs. Stick to those needs, and then find things you're willing to waver on and adjust accordingly.
And do it before you sign the contract.
100%. Thanks for joining us on this episode of Contracted and Committed. We've talked a lot about the hidden realities of travel healthcare and how it's not all sunshine and easy contracts. If you're navigating this journey, remember, you're not alone, and it's okay to embrace the messiness along the way.
Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review the podcast if you're enjoying what we're sharing. And if you know someone who's starting their travel healthcare journey, or just a married couple, share this episode with them to help them feel a little more prepared.
In our next episode, we're diving into the mental challenges of starting fresh in a new city, from battling homesickness to building your support systems. We'll share how we stay mentally strong while navigating the ups and downs of every new place.
Catch us every Saturday, alternating between quick mini episodes and full-length convos.
Until next time, keep loving.
Keep laughing.
And most importantly,
keep taking the next step.